Hello and welcome to my first video. This is Lyra and I am doing a little December bullet journal video. This theme is based off the Chronicles of Narnia. Right here you can see me drawing a lovely lamppost. This is the first main symbol I sort of think of when I think of this very classic tale and sort of an untraditional Christmas choice too. The lamppost sort of represents to me what in December Christmas represents itself. A hope of regeneration, of change, and of generosity that will allow people to sort of challenge the status quo and do things that are compassionate and hard, even in the time when it seems the most impossible. So the lamppost was first put, as we remember, by Aslan to sort of show that one day somebody else will come, and so we must leave on a light. This is kind of similar to me too, in the thoughts of how people always think of candles in this time of year because they are both a necessity. It's much darker right now, but also because they sort of symbolize that hope, that unspecific, vague idea that maybe one day somebody else will be there too, and we can all join in. So now I'm done drawing the little lamppost as much, and this is where it gets a little bit more festive. I'm drawing little trees, because as you can remember, they are a very important part. They serve as messengers, both in the movie and then in the show. In the actual book, they show how the impassive, the passive, and those who sort of exist in the margins, who allow things to happen, but then can become festive, and they exist in the background. And then now I'm drawing a little snowflakes for you guys. I like to do different variations on this one. Heads up, I don't like this one very much, so I'll show you guys how to cover it up. It ends up looking way too much like a little cobweb over there. I don't know if you guys can see it. If I did it probably in blue or in silver, it wouldn't have been as bad, but just because it was so dark, I tried to make it work for a little bit, but then I decided against it. So I just went over it in a darker pen. You can use anything. You could even use a Sharpie if your paper is thick enough. And then I went over other ones in dark pen just because I wanted to make sure that if they were also failures, I could sort of expand that darkness. I also liked it. It did turn out surprisingly well later on, and you'll see that when I get to later pages. So then I go in with one of my Jelly Roll pens. These ones come in silver and gold, if you guys remember from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special. I thought it would be fun. So I go over that silver over top of the black because I think it looks really cool and it does pop out, so I like it because the silver can kind of blend in. And then I'm going over with my Crayola Super Tips. Very cool. And I'm just going over all of it. I sped it up for you guys, so it looks a little wild, but I figured you didn't want to see me sort of being like, oh, if I do it slower, then maybe it'll be less topsy-turvy. But I like it not being perfect, because also it was sort of existing in this huge forest in the background. So I don't think it was made to be like exactly, straight and nothing. So I like it being a little bit more whimsical and fantasy. So I'm going over it once again, and then I am doing the little candle in here. I know it probably would have been a lamppost, like of normal type, but then I thought about it harder, and I thought, like, where would they get the gasoline? So I did a candle. Besides, it fits more in the Christmas theme. Speaking of which, we have a little Santa Claus hat that I'm drawing on. And the most Christmas thing to happen in this whole book was the fact that Santa Claus himself makes an appearance as Father Christmas, because it was made in the UK. And then I draw over I did the Grinch colored for the first little thing, and then I'm going over with each of the super tips the little Christmas trees I made. Well, they're not quite Christmas trees yet. They're just evergreen trees, and they sort of represent to me how things endure and they promise for a spring coming soon, and they're able to sort of withstand and be impassive, and also in a way that's their privilege because they can survive the winter and they don't need to rely on the rest of the community. They can sort of have the privilege of being spies or being neutral about the White Witch or Aslan being in power and sort of shift in between it. there's always more to read in these children's stories than you think when you sort of think about it a little bit harder. So now I'm going over with one of my Muji pens. Oh, and now my favorite part, hand lettering. I'm going over December. And if you want to see how I do it, I am not the best, but I can give you a very approachable way of doing hand lettering. And so here, now I'm going over the days of the week. And so I like to sort of have them all on the same level, even though I'm going to have Saturday and Sunday up higher. So it's just how I like to do it. And then I'm just doing in the days of the week, I'm using a plastic fountain pen right here. And then once again, magically, it happens. It's sort of, my hand just jumps through all these days. And I haven't talked about the presents yet. That's what, if you remember, Santa comes and he brings them each a gift. And these gifts are sort of honorifics. They show each of the children how to be better at what they are. So Peter, he becomes the magnificent because he magnifies all of the children and he becomes a leader. Whereas, next page. Okay, so here we have my little habit tracker. I already did a lot of it actually, so I'm not even going to show you me making grid paper. You could have just done grid paper on your own. In that moment, I wasn't feeling it. I felt ambitious, so now I wrote in a number of them, but I won't go in. So now you're going to see I'm doing a little faux Dutch door situation just so I have more paper. And then you're also seeing now I'm doing candles on top because I really like the candle idea. So I went over top of them and I just drew like cylinders with little circles on top and then the wicks. They're fairly easy to draw, no complication really. It's a very simple and I think approachable way of doing each. And then but I still make mistakes. And then I go over later in a Muji pen. So now I'm drawing Christmas trees, of course, to go over, and I'm just putting all the other things of the themes over there. I also felt that candles were the most underrepresented on the other side. They were sort of downplayed, so they needed to have the full top to themselves. And then I'm using the Dutch door to have a full tree. It sort of expands out. And then I have more trees, beautiful, beautiful. And then I'm also gonna draw little presents over the side, and you'll see why when I get there. It's really cute, guys. So it's pretty cute. I'm doing various sizes, as you can see, a very tall one and two shorter ones, just because I wanted to add some more visual interest. I made sure to change up the colors, and you'll see that soon. I'm also going through and doing our favorite, the snowflakes. So you can do them all unique, individual. I love how each of these sort of turned out. I really like this one here that we're gonna see very soon. It's really pretty. And then we're going up and we're doing, as yet again, more snowflakes. I like to mix it up by doing triangles and different patterns. You can sort of just make whatever lines you want and then add in either triangles. Oh, actually, this is my favorite one. And this one I end up doing quite large, and I was very happy with it. And I did it in pencil first too, just to always double check. This one I sort of did by doing triangles on the inside, and then I did almost like little, the same sort of thing I would do if I was drawing lavender over there. So I just sort of added them on and little circles on the end, and I thought it turned out really pretty. Definitely a fan. If I was to do it again, I would do a bunch more in that style. And then I go over here and I draw more, and I sort of just fill them all up. It's really important, in my opinion, when you're doing these sort of things, to do them in pencil first, just because you don't know how the composition overall is going to turn out. Like, I think it's important to look full without looking busy, each of the pages, just because when you're looking at it, there should be some idea of it just being a general background, and it should all sort of mesh together. And while you can't really see it with color quite yet, you can sort of see if something is more represented in one side or the other side. So that's just my hot take on that. And then I have completely done that. So now I turn over to the other side and I go and get my supplies, as you know. And now you're going to see some more beautiful hand lettering. So now I'm writing memories and gratitude. And that's why I wanted to have gifts right over there, because I think the best gifts that we get in this season are the times that we get to spend with people. And I love having gratitude trackers. It's one of my favorite things about the bullet journaling sort of practice, is that you can go back and remember things you loved. So then I'm going back in and just sort of doing more of these pine trees. I do them a little bit topsy-turvy. I don't want them to be perfect. I don't want them to be too symmetrical, because we don't really see that much in nature. And I also wanted to have a variety of different colors, just to mix it up a bit and show these trees, while they are all triangles, they're sort of all different, and they're all at different stages. So in this mysterious wood, inside the wardrobe, that some of these trees maybe didn't know about the White Witch. Who knows? Maybe they've only known winter, and they've grown throughout the strife of the time without Aslan. So we're continuing through, and now I am also mixing up all the different colors, because I also want to make sure there's representation of different sort of tones of each of the trees on both sides. And now I'm going to show you what I'm going to use that little Dutch door for. This is where I like to put like the list of everything that's worrying me right over there, so then it's hidden away, and whenever I'm looking at it, I'm also forced to look at the thing I'm grateful for. Pretty hot tip. And then here's my key for my little habit/mood tracker. Well, it's more of a habit tracker now. And so what I like to do is a grid system, and then each of the squares I either fit in with these vertical lines, diagonal lines, or a combination of the two, which just turns into like almost like a crisscross fashion. I like to do that just because it's way easier for me than finding one of my markers or one of my pens at any given day, which is kind of crazy. And it's true, I don't understand how people are able to do it. I sometimes have to fill it in with pencil or whatever I find, so that's just me. So this is me going in with a blue pen. I'm not using one of the Muji pens or anything. I am using a Muji pen now. So then I'm just going in, and then I'm using combinations sometimes. I'm trying to mix it up also. Make sure there's both silver, gold, and like black ones, like just spread out, and it's all the different things. And then I have me coloring in my different ones. I like to use pencil crayon, especially when I'm going to be writing on the other side. I just thought it would be too much marker if I did marker too, and I was also getting lazy with the marker and just sort of spreading around. I had a thought about going over them with watercolors, because I love that effect, but I thought it would just be too much. So also, this is another key system I did for when I started a task and when I finished a task. I did a star for when I started the task, and then a little X for when it's finished, which is pretty, I liked it. And then I'm going over with my Muji pens all of the beautiful little candles over there. I did a variety of sizes. I did different, I think I did a rough draft of a bunch of different wicks. I don't think I kept them all. Who's to say? Who knows? And then I go through and I make sure they each have a Muji pen outline, just because I think it looks way better. And then I go in after that, making sure they're all good. There's a lot of repositioning in my bullet journal threads, so I'm just using green to like mark out the markers of the different ones. So the first one I'm marking off is self-care. So things like having 8 hours worth of sleep, eating 3 meals in a day, going outside, cardio, shower, drinking enough water, doing social things like seeing people, practicing gratitude, creativity. So gratitude is when I write things down that I'm happy about, writing 500 words, writing 1,000 words. So productivity also takes part on it, or taking pictures, and also reading. So you see how like the nuance of the key makes more sense here. And now we have a final look through. So that has been my bullet journal for December. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a very happy and holly jolly December. So you can see close, I have a few of the days right over there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Cheers.